Golden Blue Dude back with another video just for you, the college football fan. So if you are a college football fan, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button because that's all we do here. It's a long off season and I'm here to get you through it. Don't forget to check out our Patreon page. A lot of time and effort going into that. And I call my Patreons the shot callers because I let them call the shots. We also have a great website designed and created by Joey Foster, 8 great writers led by our head writer Michael Walker. And I can't forget about our merchandise store. A lot of great stuff over there. And today I wanted to talk about no more divisions in all of college football. It looks like that could actually become a reality sooner rather than later. Now, how this got started was ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips started a petition for the NCAA to remove the restrictions for conference title games. And now there's an actual proposal from the NCAA Football Oversight Committee. Now, right now, conferences with 12 plus members must have divisions to have a conference championship. Jim Phillips wanted to do away with it. Well, now there's an actual proposal and it has a lot of support. In fact, all 10 college football conferences support this proposal. Now, we already know the ACC supports this proposal because it was Jim Phillips, the commissioner, that started the petition. We now know that the SEC supports this proposal, and the SEC could actually go to pods whenever Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC. Now the Big 12 is also showing big time support. They're actually putting a hold on their divisions for whenever Cincinnati, BYU, UCF, and Houston join the conference. And we know that the Pac-12 authored this proposal. So we know that this proposal has strong support from the Pac-12 as well. Now, what would this do? How would this help college football? Well, first of all, I think this would help make sure that there's a competitive balance. Sometimes one division is much stronger than the other division. So that would make sure there's no lopsided divisions. Because you can't predict the future. When you make the divisions, it might be very competitive, but in the future, one division might be way better than the other division. This would also make sure that the 2 best teams out of that conference makes the conference championships. That's not always the case whenever you have 2 divisions. And when you think about it, that's probably the best way for any conference to have a chance to make the playoffs. You want your best team to win that championship. Well, if you have 2 divisions, you might have your best team out of one division and then a much worse team out of the other division. And we already know upsets happen all the time. So if that much weaker team beats that much stronger team, boom, your conference is out of the playoffs. At least with this proposal, you have your 2 best teams, so you have a better chance of getting to the playoffs and no stupid upsets. So I think the biggest thing for me is it lowers the risk of a less competitive division champion upsetting the more competitive division champion and keeping that conference out of the playoffs. It makes sure to match the highest ranked teams for the conference championship. And here's what Bob Bowlesby had to say about the NCAA's role. He said, "I'm not even sure why the NCAA has to be involved in that in any way. The conferences can capably decide how they want to conduct their competition." Hey, makes sense to me. Why is there even a rule about this? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, you could literally look up the definition of the word championship, and it says this: a championship is a competition to find the best player or team in a particular sport. It doesn't say have 2 divisions and the winner of the 2 divisions play each other. Even if one of the division winners isn't considered to be the second best team in the conference, they still must play each other to determine the conference championship. No, it's the 2 best. Look it up. So NCAA, why you put that rule in, I have no idea. On a little side note, I think it's funny because it seems like the SEC may, as in not for sure, have slow played this proposal as a way of taking a shot and getting back at the ACC for not supporting the expansion. But now, the SEC is in support of the proposal. I thought that was a little funny side note. Look, I'm all for this. Number one, why does the NCAA have this rule? I'm not all familiar with the actual reasons, so if one of you want to tell me what this actual reason is, I would love to hear it because I don't see any actual reasons. I don't know why the NCAA would have to be involved in how divisions and conferences conduct how they do their conference championships. That doesn't make any sense to me either. That's why I was saying earlier in the video that whenever you make divisions, you have no idea how those divisions are going to look in the future as far as making sure that they're competitively balanced. One division could take off and be much better than the other division. We have seen that time and time again. In the ACC, it's been mostly the ACC Atlantic. Finally, last year, the ACC Coastal stepped up and won the ACC. but usually it's Clemson and the Atlantic, and the Coastal has pretty much made themselves irrelevant. Now in the Big Ten, it's been mostly the Big Ten East. When was the last time a Big Ten West team won the Big Ten championship? And usually it's a mismatch. That's another thing. These conference championships, for a lot of the time, turn out to be mismatches. I mean, look at last year's Big Ten championship game, Iowa versus Michigan. That was a joke. That was a laugh. If you would have had the two best teams, Michigan and Ohio State, it would have been a rematch and a neutral site, and it would have been a much closer game. Think about that. That's another thing that this would allow. A rematch. Hey, if the two best teams have already played, give them a rematch and let them play again in the conference championship. That's why I like how the Big 12 has things right now, the round robin. But the only reason that they have the round robin is because they're at 10. Once they go to 14, if this rule is still in place, they're going to have to go to divisions. That won't guarantee that the two best teams will make the Big 12 championship. So lopsided conference championships, that has to go, and I think it would solve that. And hey, if the two best teams have already played, let them have a rematch. That's fine. And the competitive balance, that is a big thing to me. I want to make sure that there's a competitive balance. Hey, just do away with the divisions. That's why I like this proposal. And another thing, it's funny that the ACC are the ones that started this proposal. Why is that interesting to me? Because I know for a fact that the ACC and West Virginia have been talking, and a lot of people are saying, well, they can't bring in West Virginia unless they bring in another team. And that other team, probably Notre Dame. And there's no way that Notre Dame is joining the ACC. Well, if this proposal goes through, then you don't have to have an even amount of teams in your conference. You could have an odd amount of teams. So the ACC could just bring in West Virginia, have 15 teams, and they could still have a conference championship. So that makes it to where West Virginia doesn't have to 100% rely on Notre Dame. Please, Notre Dame, come with us. We want to go to the ACC, but we can't do it without you. That eliminates that. So that's another reason why I'm really for this proposal. I don't know why this wasn't done a long time ago. Once again, I don't know the reasons why the NCAA made this stupid rule. It makes no sense. It made everything lopsided, and you rarely got the two best teams in that conference matched up for the conference championship. I mean, isn't that the whole point? The conference championship is supposed to be between the two best teams. I mean, that's common sense in my eyes. Why would you match up one team against a far lesser team when there's other teams that are better than that far lesser team? Who cares if it's a rematch? The two best teams need to play in the conference championship. That's why they call it a championship. I don't know about you, but I don't enjoy seeing blowouts in conference championships. That makes no sense to me. And this will also help in the money situation. I mean, if you can guarantee that the two best teams are in your conference championship every single year, you're going to make a lot more money because that's what people want to see. They don't want to see the best team in the conference playing probably the third or fourth best team in the conference, maybe the fifth best team depending on how bad of a year that particular division is having. No, they're not going to pay money for that. They will pay money to see the two best teams in that conference championship. So it'll actually raise excitement for that conference championship game as well. But of course, like I've said many times, because this makes too much sense, it probably won't happen, because that's what we've seen time and time again in college football. The things that make the most sense usually don't happen. Anyways, y'all let me know in the comments section. Number 1, are you for this or are you against this? Number 2, whether you're for or against, let me know why. I'm very curious to know what my viewers and subscribers think about this. I really look forward to your comments. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.